What is up, everybody? JT Dangerously here once again, and I am back for my Week 13 NFL predictions. Now, of course, Week 12 just ended with the Green Bay Packers upsetting the Philadelphia Eagles on Monday Night Football. So my record finishing up Week 12 was 12-4. So it's another winning week, 7 straight winning weeks on this since Week 6. So 7 straight weeks I've had a winning record. So the streak continues. It was a good week all around. Fantastic big time wins. All in all, it was a good week. So hey, we got through 7. Let's go for number 8 this week for sure. Before I start with these picks, I want to thank everybody. Thank you for the support on my channel. Of course, you guys showed up on week 11. For week 12, of course. 551 views on that video. You guys always show up on my channel. I really do appreciate it. 25 likes, the most on the channel since, other than like last week it was more. Now this week we broke another record with the most likes. Guys, smash that like button. Really do appreciate it. 38 comments from great positive people on my channel, my comment section. The real MVPs representing your teams. Of course, adding new subscribers. We're at 58 subscribers so far. Of course, I do want to thank everybody who subscribed to the channel for the support. Of course, welcome to the Dangerous Alliance. Of course, I am JT Dangerously, and thank you for subscribing. Of course, you guys are the MVPs of my channel. What can I say? You guys are awesome. Of course, there were 2 dislikes, but that's better than what we had last week. So thank you so very much, you guys, for watching the video, subscribing, liking, and of course commenting. And let's continue that going into week 13. Now, of course, my overall record with the loss on Monday Night Football is 110, 65, and 2. So we finally passed the 100 mark in wins. That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Let's continue that. Let's continue the winning. So let's get right into these Week 13 picks. Now, of course, we're going to start with the Thursday night matchup. The first Thursday night matchup in December, featuring the Dallas Cowboys heading to Minnesota to play the Minnesota Vikings. Now, of course, the Dallas Cowboys did win on Thanksgiving. Usually that's what they always do on Thanksgiving is win. And now they're going into December, and December has always been their hottest year, like the hottest month, with like Dallas, Pittsburgh, my Patriots, my Seahawks usually show up in December, and this is the best time to show off Dallas. Of course, Dak Prescott did work. Zeke the Freak had over 90 yards, so Washington did not meet my challenge. 97 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's a freak. And then you have the Minnesota Vikings, who did lose to the Detroit Lions on a last-second field goal. They look good, but of course they did lose. And now coming from me, and this is the direct challenge to the Minnesota defense. Minnesota defense, I'm challenging you to stop Zeke the Freak. You stop him, I'll pick you next week. And coming from me, and this is straight up honest, this may be the team that stops Zeke the Freak, because Minnesota's defense is really, really good. I don't think they've kept a few players from 100 yards, but they can keep Zeke the Freak at like under 90. That is a very good possibility. And I know there's a lot of Cowboys, certain Cowboys fans who represent themselves on the comments, and of course they always represent their teams. So of course that's totally awesome. This one's going to be a good matchup. I mean, we got Dak Prescott against Sam Bradford, Mississippi State against Oklahoma. Of course, they're also hoping maybe Adrian Peterson will be back soon, but again, that's hoping on hope. So coming from me, I'm going to take the Dallas Cowboys. They're the best team in the NFC. No offense to Seattle, but they're the number 1 seed. They're 10-1, and hopefully they win this game. So I am going to take the Dallas Cowboys to beat the Minnesota Vikings. Now let's go now the Sunday matches. Of course, let me get to the buys. I don't think these buys really are important, but of course the buys are the Cleveland Browns winless and the Tennessee Titans. So if you have Cleveland Browns players, Okay, if you have Tennessee Titans players, of course, that's fine. Make sure you not switch them up for better players this week. And I think this week is the last week of regular season fantasy football. Now we go into playoff fantasy football. So I want to wish everybody who's in a fantasy league good luck, and hopefully you can bring that championship home for you guys. So let's get right. So now the Sunday matchups. Of course, at 10 a.m. West Coast, 1 p.m. East Coast. Starting with the Kansas City Chiefs heading to the Georgia Dome to play the Dirty Birds, the Atlanta Falcons. Now, of course, the Kansas City Chiefs did beat the Denver Broncos on Sunday Night Football. They looked good. They looked fantastic. Of course, they didn't have a lot of weapons. Of course, they did not have Jeremy Maclin again. They didn't have a few players. They didn't have a few players on defense. Of course, Justin Houston came back for them and it completely turned that game because you have the best defense, the best stopping defense in Kansas City, making sure they don't give up that many points, and they did. 27 points is not too bad. Then you have the Atlanta Falcons who put an ass kicking on the Arizona Cardinals in the Battle of the Birds. Of course, Matt Ryan looked good. Devontae Freeman looked good. Julio Jones, Jacob Tanny, everybody looked good on the Atlanta Falcons team. This is going to be a very good matchup. And coming from me, I am going to take the Atlanta Falcons to win because they've been hot. No offense to Kansas City, they also have been hot. But I think Atlanta at home is a different team. So I'm going to take the Atlanta Falcons to beat the Kansas City Chiefs. Now the next matchup. Detroit Lions heading to the Superdome to play the New Orleans Saints. Now, of course, both teams are coming off wins. Detroit on Thanksgiving, last second field goal from Matt Prater. Another fourth quarter comeback from Matthew Stafford. What can I say? He's amazing. Then you have the New Orleans Saints who put an absolute ass kicking on the LA Rams. 49 points on the Rams defense, and I'll get to the Rams in a second because there are two teams that made the list on this week. So be ready for that, people. Of course, Matthew Stafford looked good. Clutch Stafford shows up again in the fourth quarter. They were down in that game and they came all the way back and won. I mean, best team in the NFC North right now. The best team in the NFC North. They in 11 consecutive game-winning drives in the fourth quarter. That is amazing for the Detroit Lions. And then of course the Saints, 4 touchdowns from Drew Brees. Like I said in that matchup, you're gonna have to outscore the Saints, and of course LA did not. This one was a tough one because it's two teams, one from the south, one from the north. So coming from me, I am gonna stick with the Detroit Lions this week. No offense to them Saints, but I gotta go with the Lions because the Lions are the hottest team right now. So I'm taking the Lions over the Saints. Now the next matchup, the LA Rams heading to Gillette Stadium to play my New England Patriots. Now, of course, the LA Rams did get destroyed by the New Orleans Saints handily. But I can say Jared Goff looked good. 3 touchdowns, 1 pick, but 3 touchdowns in his second NFL start of the season is saying a hell of a lot. And Jared Goff and LA Rams fans, Jared Goff is your future. You stick with him, you guys are going to be good. But let me just say this. LA Rams defense. I've praised you all season. I have praised the Rams defense all season. And to give up 49 points, the most since 2002, you know what happens when you give up that many points and you're maybe the most very strong NFC defense? You just made my list. I mean, 49 points defense, Rams defense, what happened? You guys are usually good on defense, but you're giving up 49 points? I mean, come on, Rams defense, wake the fuck up. But the LA Rams have made my list of dangerously, and they are on a big time list, and they are known as stupid idiots. But I digress. Then you have my New England Patriots, who did beat the New York Jets. Got me only my second win on my this birthday weekend. Of course, my birthday was Saturday. 27 years old. That was the only team that won it for me. In football, Hawks did not win, but the Patriots sure damn did. Tom Brady, Tom Brady dominant game. They won it in the end, of course, that they usually do against the Jets because the Jets are terrible. This should be a good game. Tom Brady, of course. You got Jared Goff, #1 draft pick, out of Cal against Tom Brady, out of Michigan. Jared Goff, Tom Brady. And then you have all the weapons. Like, you can't deny the Rams do have weapons, and Gurley and Tavon Austin, but look at what the Patriots have. Julian Edelman, Danny Amendola, Martavius Bennett, Rob Gronkowski, Dion Lewis, LeGarrette Blount, James White. Need I say more? So in this matchup, I am going to take my New England Patriots to beat the LA Rams. Now the next matchup, the Denver Broncos heading to Jacksonville to play the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, of course, Denver Broncos did lose to the Kansas City Chiefs on Sunday Night Football, so them winning the AFC West is now almost non-existent because there's a new sheriff in town and they're silver and black. They did look good, but of course they did lose. They lost at home, so this has been a very down year for the Denver Broncos after winning the Super Bowl, so it's a very down year. Well, both teams that made it to the Super Bowl last season are having very down years, that is for sure. Then you have the Jacksonville Jaguars. Lost again. What can you say? It's the Jacksonville Jaguars. Gus Bradley's job is on the hot. Wherever he's sitting, it's hot because he's on the hot seat, and they're gonna fire him and they're gonna look for a new coach and they're gonna get a first-round pick in the NFL draft. So coming from me, this is a complete mismatch. So I'm gonna take the Denver Broncos to beat the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now the next matchup, the Houston Texans heading to Lambeau Field to play the Green Bay Packers. Now, of course, the Houston Texans did lose to the San Diego Chargers at home, first loss this season. They didn't look good. Brock Osweiler is very mediocre, and if you thought the Rams was the only team on the list, you're wrong because the Houston Texans, you just made my list. I mean, I pick you on the road, you win. I pick you at home, sometimes you win, but losing at home, and Houston Texans fans, you can hate me for saying this, but you guys are the weakest team in the AFC right now. The weakest team. A very suspect quarterback in Brock Osweiler. He is not a franchise quarterback. That is straight up and to the point. Agree or disagree, Brock Osweiler is not a franchise quarterback. He is a he's a good backup quarterback. He's not a starter. He's terrible. He's not over. He's under. And them being in first place in that division, when you have teams like the Colts and you have the Tennessee Titans that are easily better than them in the South, and them being in first place is like, how are they in first place if they have no weapons, like other than Will Fuller, other than Fedorowicz, other than Lamar Miller? But Houston Texans, you just make the list of dangerously, and now you'll be known as stupid idiots. Now the Green Bay Packers, who did win, they did beat the Philadelphia Eagles on Monday Night Football. Aaron Rodgers looked good. Offense woke up. Defense woke up. And of course, Houston, if you make the list, I don't pick you. So coming from me, and this is just because of Houston being on the list, I'm taking the Green Bay Packers. So I'm taking the Packers to beat the Texans. Now the next matchup, the Philadelphia Eagles heading to Cincinnati to play the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, of course, the Philadelphia Eagles did lose on Monday Night Football to the Green Bay Packers. Wins did not look good, but of course they did not have Ryan Matthews in the lineup, so it was a very, very one-sided affair coming from me. Then you have the Cincinnati Bengals, who did lose to the Baltimore Ravens. Kind of obvious when you don't have A.J. Green, you don't have Gio Bernard, and even Marvin Lewis's seat is hot right now because he's on the hot seat, and I wouldn't be surprised they fire him because Cincinnati hasn't won a playoff game, and they're terrible this season too, and that's saying a lot about Cincinnati because Cincinnati used to be good and now they're just garbage. And coming from me, this should be a good matchup. So I am going to take the Philadelphia Eagles to beat the Cincinnati Bengals this week because Cincinnati is done. Cincinnati is stick a fork in them, they're done. So I'm taking Philly to beat Cincinnati. Now the next matchup, the Miami Dolphins heading to Baltimore to play the Baltimore Ravens. Now, of course, the Miami Dolphins did win again at home over the 49ers. What can I say? The Dolphins are the best wild card, best bubble team in the NFC right now. It's them and the Bills, but right now the Dolphins are the best team. They're on a 6-game winning streak. Jay Ajayi straight out of Boise State is doing work. Cannot go wrong with that. Tannehill's looking good. Their defense is waking up finally. Ndamukong Suh had a big-time stop on Colin Kaepernick, so that was big for him. Kiko Alonso had another pick, so can't say anything bad about the Dolphins' defense. Then you have the Baltimore Ravens, who did beat the Cincinnati Bengals. I mean, Baltimore looked good. Defense-wise, they look fantastic. Of course, Mike Wallace looked good. Steve Smith Sr., Joe Flacco, the running back, Terrence West. Everybody looked good on that team. This one was very tough because, of course, Baltimore is in first place in the North with that win on Sunday, so that was a big win for them. This one was a very tough pick because Baltimore is at home. I'm going to go with the Miami Dolphins because I think the Miami Dolphins this winning streak continues, makes Miami look even better to make it into the wild card, one of the 2 wild card spots. So coming from me, I am taking the Miami Dolphins to beat the Baltimore Ravens. Now the next matchup in 2 terrible teams in the NFC, the San Francisco 49ers heading to Soldier Field to play the Chicago Bears. Now, of course, the San Francisco 49ers did lose to the Miami Dolphins. They're 1-10. Chip Kelly, that door is still open in college. You can coach some Division I FBS school because they'll happily have you because they're not doing at all good. I mean, I cannot say that about Colin Kaepernick. Colin Kaepernick got 3 touchdowns on Sunday against the Dolphins, but he just plays for a terrible team. And coming from me, and I'm not a 49ers fan, but as soon as they let John Harbaugh go to college, it was the beginning of the end for the 49ers. And look where John Harbaugh is now. He's at Michigan. They're trying to get into the college football playoff, and they're looking good. Like, Carlos Hyde also looked good for the 49ers and Colin Kaepernick, so those 2 were good. Cannot say anything more other than that. Then you have the Chicago Bears, who did lose at home to the Tennessee Titans, but they did look good. Matt Barkley started his first start. He looked good. I know I've watched him at USC. He was a fantastic quarterback. And I'll just say this, Chicago Bear fans, Jay Cutler is done. Trade him or get rid of him going into the offseason. He is done. Of course, the team is not great either. These are 2 terrible teams, 1-10, and a very bad Chicago Bears team. Of course, I have to make this pick. I can't just say I can't pick either or because they're both terrible. So coming from me, I'm going to take the Chicago Bears to beat the San Francisco 49ers. I think the Bears have a little bit more weapons on them with Jordan Howard running back, Cameron and Meredith. Have a lot more weapons, and they could have won that game against Tennessee. So I'm taking Chicago over the 49ers. Now the next matchup, the Buffalo Bills heading to the Black Hole to play the Oakland Raiders. Now, of course, the Buffalo Bills did win against the Jacksonville Jaguars. They got back Sammy Watkins, which was big time. That's really big time. Helps them having him back. Of course, Shady McCoy did play, even though he injured his thumb last week. So again, I was right on they're gonna play him, and he did. He had a fantastic game. Tyrod Taylor had a good game, and the not-so-super Ryan brothers do it again. They do it again at home, and they're maybe the second wildcard team that can actually get into the wildcard position. But coming from me again, Miami's the best team. Then you have the Oakland Raiders, who of course did beat the Carolina Panthers at home on Sunday. What can I say? The Raiders are the team that. They are the new sheriffs in town, the Silver and Black Nation, representing the AFC West, and of course I think they're the number 1 seed in the AFC playoff picture, and I don't know if you even tell me 5-6 years ago that Oakland would be this good, one, in first place, two, and in first place in the AFC division. I mean, when you have weapons like Latavius Murray, AC/DC, Amari Cooper and Derek Carr, Michael Crabtree, Khalil Mack on defense, this team is legit, and I know there's a lot of Raider fans in California that are happy that the Raiders are this good. And coming from me, I'm going to go with the Oakland Raiders again. They haven't failed me once. And Oakland is a fantastic team. I had my doubts for years about the Raiders. Of course, my friend Mitchell Seagal got me on that hype train, and I've been on it since. I believed in this Raiders team, of course, not from the beginning, and I can be a man and admit that I was not on the Raiders' side for years, but now they're looking like the team to watch in the AFC. So I'm taking the Oakland Raiders to beat the Buffalo Bills. Now the next matchup, the New York Giants heading to Heinz Field to play the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, of course, the New York Giants did win over the Cleveland Browns. What can I say? The Browns are garbage. Thank God they're on a bye, but they have nothing to play for. But the Giants look good. Odell Beckham Jr. had a touchdown. Defense looked good. Jason Pierre-Paul had the winning interception return. Of course, a commenter of mine on my week 12 picks picked the Giants. He was representing his Giants team in his video, and they got the win. So congrats to you, my friend. You got that win. I would think we both had good weeks this week for sure. And now they're heading to Heinz play the Pittsburgh Steelers, who did beat the Indianapolis Colts on Thanksgiving. The three Bs were on fire. Ben Roethlisberger 3 touchdowns. Le'Veon Bell multiple yards on the ground, and Antonio Brown 3 touchdowns. What can you say? The three Bs were out in force. And now you're playing against Eli Manning against Ben Roethlisberger, Odell Beckham Jr. against Antonio Brown. But the big time, the X factor coming from me is the running game. Rashad Jennings, I would have predicted Rashad Jennings to have at least 100 yards against Cleveland. He didn't even have 100 yards. But the running game is very suspect because they're a passing team, but they're not a big-time running team. But then you look at Pittsburgh, Le'Veon Bell. Need I say more? Le'Veon Bell. So with just having that X factor and Le'Veon Bell is a better running back than Rashad Jennings, I'm going to take the Pittsburgh Steelers to beat the New York Giants. Now the next matchup, the Washington Redskins heading to Glendale to play the Arizona Cardinals. Now, of course, both teams are coming off losses. Of course, Washington to the Dallas Cowboys on Thanksgiving in Arizona, and an ass-kicking defeat, getting their asses kicked against Atlanta. Washington did look good. They did come back in that Dallas game. Of course, fell short. Kirk Cousins looked good, over, 4 touchdowns. Deshaun Jackson looked good. Jordan Reed had a great game with 2 touchdowns, or tight end. Running backs look good. Defense, of course, Josh Norman and Dez Bryant had a little bit of a scuffle, but that's usually with the Cowboys and the Redskins. But they did look good. Now the team that didn't look good, the Arizona Cardinals. The Arizona Cardinals are done. I'm just going to say that right now. The Arizona Cardinals are done. Like, every team in the NFC West lost on Sunday. Seattle lost, San Francisco lost, LA lost, Arizona lost. So it was not a great week in the NFC West. So coming from me, let's continue the West slump. I'm going to take the Washington Redskins to beat the Arizona Cardinals. Now the next matchup, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers heading to San Diego to play the San Diego Chargers. Now, of course, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers pulled out a big-time upset against my Seattle Seahawks. Jameis Winston did most of the work, and it was the Mike Evans, Jameis Winston show on Sunday. They did most of the work in that game. And coming from me, and of course a commenter again also made a bold prediction that Tampa Bay was going to win that game. And of course he was right, so I got to give him mad props for that. And of course, and he did say that the team doesn't get a lot of respect, and they should get a lot of respect because Tampa Bay is a very young team, but they have weapons. They have a lot of good weapons in Jameis, Dougie, and Mike Evans. Even though Vincent Jackson is hurt, but that team is a very young and up-and-coming team in the NFC South. And they definitely deserve the respect because the South is not that great, other than if it's Atlanta, New Orleans, and Atlanta, New Orleans, and of course Tampa, because Carolina's garbage this year. And now they're heading to Qualcomm to play the San Diego Chargers. Now, of course, the San Diego Chargers did win over the Houston Texans. Very good win. Phillip Rivers did work again. Melvin Gordon had a good game. Not 100 yards, but he had a good game. This one was a tough matchup because San Diego is a very good team. But coming from me, I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have to win this. This will be a big-time win for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm not saying Tampa Bay beating Seattle wasn't a big win. That's a huge win for that organization, for sure. So coming from me, I am going to take the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to beat the San Diego Chargers. Now the Sunday night football matchup that goes against, of course, TLC 2016 in Houston, Texas. The Carolina Panthers heading to CenturyLink Field to play the Seattle Seahawks. Now, of course, the Carolina Panthers did lose to the Oakland Raiders. That's not a surprise. Carolina's terrible. Well, need I say more? They did have a good game from Jonathan Stewart and Cam Newton, but they still lost that game. What can I say? Carolina is the weakest team in the NFC South. That is for sure. Then you have the Seattle Seahawks, who did lose to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers by only scoring five points. I'm not talking 5-time WCW champion Booker T, sucker. I'm talking about 5 points offense, a safety, and a field goal. That was Seattle's offense in that game. This was the worst game for Seattle. No touchdowns, just a field goal and a safety. Winston did not have a great game, and I'm saying that as a Seahawks fan. He had his worst game. This was maybe Seattle's worst game. 7-3-1, their first place in the NFC West, but that was a kind of a very much an embarrassing loss. So, an embarrassing loss, just not even scoring one offensive touchdown is saying a lot. So in this matchup, this is legitimately payback time. Put a whooping on the Panthers, Seattle Seahawks, and give that ball off to Rawls, give that ball off to, hawk that ball to Dougie, give that ball to Jimmy, give that ball, have Russell Wilson be dangerous, and that is for sure. So I'm taking my Seattle Seahawks to beat the Carolina Panthers. Now the Monday night matchup going against Monday Night Raw, two teams that are kind of terrible this season. Of course, I'm talking about the Indianapolis Colts heading to Jersey to play the New York Jets. Now, of course, the Indianapolis Colts did lose. I picked against them. They lost. The Colts curse is over. Thank God. Colts did not have Andrew Luck. They had Scott Tolzien. So that was kind of obvious they were going to lose that game because you're putting a rookie against a dominant Steelers offense and defense. So that was understandable. Then you have the New York Jets, who did lose to my Patriots. Get used to that. Get used to that, Jets. The Jets are nowhere in the same league as my Patriots, and that's saying a lot. Fitzpatrick did play. He had a good game, but of course they lost to the Patriots again because the Jets are the bitches of the AFC East. Love me or hate me for saying that, but they are. So coming from me, I'm just gonna make this pick short. I'm gonna take the Indianapolis Colts to beat the New York Jets because what's better than seeing the Jets continue to lose in the AFC East? So I'm taking the Colts over the Jets. And those are my Week 13 picks. I hope you enjoyed my picks. Comment below your picks this week. Hey, represent your team like you guys did in Week 12. I'm always on to like your comment and of course reply to them. Let's have a conversation about it. Please comment, and subscribe. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and become part of this dangerous alliance. And I will see you in the next video. See ya!